Hey everybody, today's video we're going to be doing another one of my redesigning, photoshopping eyeshadow face palettes. I have a collection of I think five eyeshadow palettes and face palettes that I have collected, and I have put my own spin on them. Some ended up changing a whole lot. Some I just kind of tweaked a little bit because I honestly liked a lot of the releases that have come out recently. So I didn't find too many that were so egregious. This MAC and Cruella de Vil thing is beyond repair. And I would have to spend like an entire day watching all the 101 Dalmatian movies to really like dig into what Cruella's eyeshadow palette would be. But just so you know, I saw that palette and I am just as baffled by it as you are. So if you haven't seen one of these videos before, I take a palette, I bring it into Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, and I just mess around with it. I change some colors, I move around colors, I delete colors, what have you. So the first palette we're actually going to be starting with is the BH Cosmetics 2000s palette, and I thought about doing all three of them, but I was a 90s kid. I mean, I was born in 1989, but like I was a 90s kid. I didn't know the makeup of the 90s firsthand because I wasn't wearing it. And then obviously I was alive for 6 months in the 80s. So again, I wasn't alive in the 80s enough to realize what the makeup really was. But the 2000s was where I had some sort of expertise because that was the years, the decade that I spent as an adolescent. So if anybody's gonna know 2000s makeup, it's somebody who was a damn teenager in the 2000s. So with the palette, what I started out with, I deleted the warm neutrals because I don't feel like warm neutrals were a thing that we had. I made one of the shades black because we have this dark kind of smoky color, but we needed a black. And then because there was that shimmery blue, there was a couple shimmery blues, I added a matte powder blue, like a baby blue. I did make one of the shimmery blues more of an aqua shade because I didn't want them to be too similar, and I made it brighter. And then this white shimmer on the left here, Glam, I wanted to make it more silvery because I feel like warm whites weren't as all the rage. It had to be silver, you know? And this shade on the far right, I believe it's Milkshake. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. I made it a dark purple, not a dark blue, just to add a little bit of difference, you know. And then for this purple that's right in the center, all I did was I just deepened it up a little bit. I just made it a little bit darker and a little more saturated. But otherwise, I actually like this palette. I feel like it's a really good representation of the early 2000s. I mean, I would wear the version that they released, absolutely. I would wear the other one too. But when it came to accuracy, I don't feel like the warm neutrals, like the mustardy shades, were really something that people were wearing. At least that I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember people wearing these. Also, my mom didn't wear makeup. I love the names though. Glam, Poker Face, Teen Dream, Sexy Back, Crazy in Love, Don't Ya? Oh my god. Such a throwback. Next, we're going to be working on these Anastasia palettes, the Anastasia face palettes. And what we're doing is we are just deleting all of it. Because, you know, it's not worth it. Instead, we're just gonna change it completely. We're just gonna give you some nice face palettes. Just buy the fucking Midas palettes. Just buy the Midas from Dusk to Dawn and Neon MUA palettes. Please, they're so good. We don't need those ABH bullshit blush palettes. Those ABH face palettes are so lazy. The darkest color, the darkest bronzer, is lighter than the darkest blush. And like, I saw some swatches where the girl on her arm, the blush looked fine, the highlighter was a little light, but the bronzer was the exact same color as her skin tone. Just buy the Midas ones. They're great and they're cheaper. Next, Melt Cosmetics. The Melt Cosmetics Mary Jane palette, I have a little bit of a bone to pick with them. I didn't talk about it in my anti-haul because I honestly do kind of like it. Like, I don't dislike the color story. Like, I would wear this. I just feel like Melt, do we really need another weed-themed palette? Especially when you've said absolutely nothing about, like, marijuana in, like, I don't know, a complicated and nuanced way where it's like, oh yeah, it's still a federal crime. And oh yeah, there's so many people still in prison because of marijuana charges. I don't know, maybe use some of that energy to do that. For this palette, I didn't change a whole lot. They did the theme of like the smoke that comes out when you're smoking. So I made this dark, like the darkest shade they had in the palette, which wasn't even that dark. I made it darker, like a darker charcoal kind of ash color because, you know, ash. And the one thing that did kind of bother me about this palette that there were too many shimmers that were too similar. And I don't dislike the Melt shimmer formula, but I feel like there's too many that are similar. So I added another matte shade. I added another matte, and I made this one the kind of darker gray charcoaly one that wasn't nearly as dark. Honestly, I probably could have just slid the other one over, but I felt like making more work for myself. The Gasper color, I adjusted the coloring to make it a little bit more greeny brown, because I feel like having some sort of green makes sense in a weed themed palette. Not a lot, but just like a little bit. This one, I think what I'm gonna do, I think I'm making this one darker just because all the shimmers were so kind of like mid-tone. Yeah. Making this one a little darker and a little more saturated, just to change it up a little bit because, or I guess a little less saturated. Yeah, a little darker, a little deeper. This light kind of nudish beige shade, I wanted to kind of mimic the color of the rolling papers. So I made it a little bit more kind of a light taupey beige. A little less pink because I feel like those shades, those kind of more pinky mauve shades, were going to look similar on the eyes in the long run. So I wanted to add a little bit of a kind of light paper. It looks a little corpse-like. I wanted to add a little bit of that. I like both of them. I like the color story. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like I'm bored. I'm bored, Melt. 3 weed palettes? Really? Next, this abomination of a benefit release, I talked about in my anti-haul. I did have somebody mention on Twitter, I believe, it might have been in the YouTube comment, that Benefit kind of jacked the art of this artist that goes by Berlin Michelle, and I haven't looked super into it. I haven't seen a ton of discourse on it, but that has been something that people have been saying. And the style is very, very similar, I will say. But these palettes are fucking annoying as hell. When I was looking up images of them, like to get some good shots of them, I saw some blog, I don't remember where they were from, but they praised this release for having different palettes for different skin tones, and I was like, oh no, sweet summer child, where did you get that idea? And all I can think is that she saw like the color of the actual packaging on the inside and like, this one's darkest, so it's darkest. No, it's not. They're all the same tones. So I changed that. I started out by having a fourth one, because if you're going to call it Forest Scope and you're going to have earth, wind, and fire, but not water, hello, we needed water. So first thing, I actually grabbed a photo of the 4 actual hula shades that they have, because they have 4. I made the earth, is that one earth? I made it hula light, because they have a lighter hula. I made the Georgia shade a bit more saturated and a bit more pink. I put Hula Caramel in the third one, which I think is the fire. And then this one at the bottom, I did Hula Toasted, which is the darkest hula, which isn't even that dark of a bronzer. But that alone is just a big old change. I'm adjusting some of the blush shades to make them a bit more saturated and just to make them a little bit different from the other colors in the palette. There was really no rhyme or reason to like when I was doing this, but I looked up the blushes from Benefit and I was like, God, they have like Dallas is the only thing that's even remotely like different. But I took the blush shade that was supposed to be from like the darkest palette, and I made like a really pretty, like rich red. And I feel like that's a really beautiful blush shade that I don't see enough of, okay? The lightest palette, I made even like a little bit lighter and a little more pink toned, because I feel like the Georgia Peach shade could use a little bit of a contrast. What am I doing here? Yep, okay, I'm gonna mess with this one. And this one I made a little bit more fuchsia. It's like a little more like, not that quite bright. I adjusted this a few times. But I made it just a little bit cooler of a blush, but a little just richer version of what was already in there. And then the same thing with that blush at the top, because it's like, why? It's the same. They're the same shades. Like, literally, there's like maybe one different shade from palette to palette. But I really adjusted these a lot. So this one I made more of an orange blush. Like a nice, rich, orangey coral. And this one I made an even more, kind of more terracotta kind of color. Like a more terracotta orange, a little darker. And a little less bright. But, I mean, we got some new blush palettes coming from all over the place. Like ColourPop just released some new ones that look pretty good. And then this one, what did I do? Oh, I made this more of a gold. Just to complement the other shades in there. And because the other ones look too sad. Just so sad. Oh, here's where I made it a little bit lighter and pinker. I'm just like, if you're gonna make like a light palette, like make a light palette. What they did was just a lot of the same. Just a lot of the same. Did I make Georgia a little bit more saturated here too? Yeah, a little more saturated. Honestly, that blush, the Air Goddess one, the second palette that I'm messing with, I would totally use that, you know? I'd probably use the Earth Angel one just with a very light hand. Just adding some saturation all over the place. And there we go. We got a brand new Benefit. Benefit, could you please just adjust a little bit of your just strategies? Because at this point, why? You know, I don't know. It's so not surprising, but equally disappointing every single time. That's how I fix the Benefit release. Benefit, please don't take my idea. Thanks. Well, take my idea, but pay me for it. Thank you. And then last but not least, I tackled the NYX Tetris palette. And when I saw this, I was like, what even? Ooh. I didn't talk about it in my anti-haul because frankly, it was just a lot of me repeating myself of like, this is too big. None of the colors make sense together. Why are there so many repeat shades? Because I try not to repeat myself too much in my videos, especially if it's something as like mundane as like the palette's too big, because that's very much a personal preference. So what I did, I just tackled this and started deleting colors. I just started clicking around and finding shades that were similar enough to delete them. And honestly, this was a very effective way. This is exactly what I did with the Beauty Bay palette last month, but I feel like, I mean, this was harder because it was 80 shades. 80. Excuse me? Hey, NYX, we're gonna have a talk here. 80 shades, please fix that. So I did. I'm literally just clicking around trying to find colors because there's so many in here. None of it is organized in a way that makes sense. They have the like makeup game on thing for the Tetris pieces, but I don't understand like why the Tetris pieces are intermixed with the ones that aren't as Tetris pieces. It's like, were they gonna do them, like, why not do them all as Tetris pieces? And then in the Tetris pieces, they're just individual like color stories, but not like themes of color. The Tetris pieces as a concept don't really make sense to me in this execution. So I fixed it. I don't know how well I fixed it. I think it might look a little wonky at the end still, but I spent like a good fucking 20 minutes on it. Son of a bitch, why are there so many similar shades? So now I'm starting to actually rebuild the boxes in ways that make sense. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put in the blue box. Do I put the black one? I think I put the black shade in there. So this one down here, it's just going to be like a kind of blue, smoky, very denim kind of quad. Because that's what these are. They're just all quads, but just in different shapes. It's like, I hate when palettes have quads within larger palettes. It's like, just sell the individual quads, please. I had a little bit of a struggle bus going on with moving these colors around, so forgive me. Okay, my layers were a mess with this one too. So now I'm kind of building a very like mauve kind of quad up here on the top left. And I'm bringing this gray shade. This palette goes through quite a transformation, I will say. This one was quite hard to move around and figure out what was gonna go where, because it was so big and so many shades were so similar, but it didn't really have like the space wasn't allocated very well. So moving things around was even more complicated. Ah, God. And honestly, I didn't even change any of the colors themselves. I just deleted them and moved them around. Because with the kind of photo they have of it, I can't really judge the quality necessarily. And there is a lot of like range of shade within it. There is a lot of midtones, but it's not like... I mean, it's not like the shades that I left were the ones that were super similar and light and sad. Because there were a lot of those that I deleted. I think we get down to like half the shades at some point. There we go. Moving the blue one up in the world. All right, we got rid of at least half the shades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 4 by 1, 2, 3. 40 shades. I got it down to 40. 4 times 8? No, 36. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. I can't count. I was like 40, 32, I don't know. Yeah, I got it down to less than half. Do I like it now? That remains to be seen. It's a lot more palatable than an 80 color palette. 80 colors? No. No, absolutely not. Well, that was a quick one. That didn't take me too long. Honestly, that ABH one, I just felt like having a little bit of fun with it because truly those ABH trios are abysmal and the Midas and Neon MUA ones are fantastic. So just buy those instead. But let me know how you enjoyed my reimaginings of these palettes. I definitely like doing these. I'm going to keep doing them. So if there are any in the next month or so that you want me to do for next month, let me know in the comments of this video, or you can always like tweet it at me or something, because I like doing palettes that I want to do, but I also like doing ones that I know y'all are gonna like. I think not next month, but soon I'll do a version of this where it's just like classic palettes. So like a throwback editions that aren't just new palettes. So I thought that could be fun in a couple of months. For today's song of the day. Today's song of the day is That Thing You Do from That Thing You Do. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I will say That Thing You Do is one of my favorites, and it's definitely my childhood. I love That Thing You Do, and it was written and co-produced by Adam Schlesinger, who we sadly lost last year to COVID, and he was a founding member of Fountains of Wayne and like a fantastic songwriter and producer, and I was super pissed that the Oscars left him out of the In Memoriam, as well as Jessica Walter and Naya Rivera. Like, come on, Oscars. I didn't watch the whole thing. I only watched parts of it, but I saw a lot of my music friends not happy with them leaving out Adam, because That Thing You Do is one of the best movie songs of all time. Like, it's so good. If I'm going to watch a musical, it's going to be That Thing You Do. That's the only musical I want to watch. But yeah, That Thing You Do is your song of the day because it's so catchy and wonderful. And also just go listen to Fountains of Wayne. Fountains of Wayne was so good. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you are staying home. My glasses are from Warby Parker, if you're wondering. These are the Blair, not Claire, style. Yeah, hopefully the next time you see me in this room, at least filming in here, I will have some stuff behind me. We will have moved things around and have finished painted. My hair is straight up blonde on this side. The sun bleaching has gotten so extreme that, like, unless you pull my hair back, you can't see that there's purple in it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you're having a good week. Stay home, wear your mask, get vaccinated, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.